If these are the witches of the future, I hate to think what the future will bring. What is this generation coming to? I've got a split. I've got another gig.
Hello and welcome to Bencher Movie Club. My name is Ben.
I'm Charlie.
And today we're going to be talking about The Worst Witch from 1986.
This is the third of our Halloween specials, as it were, where we pick in films that we like to watch around the Halloween time, be they horror films or fantasy films or the other. And this week was Ben's choice, his favourite horror film ever, The Worst Witch from 1986.
Yeah, it's really scary.
Why'd you pick this?
I picked this because of nostalgia reasons, really. I remember we watched this quite a lot when we was younger. It came out in 1986, so I would have been 12. So you would have been about 10. No, Jack, how old would you have been?
86, I was 4.
4, right, okay. Yeah, no, we must have seen it later than that. I think it was. I think it was shown a few Halloweens, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was shown. I think they showed it every Halloween, not only here but in America as well, for like about 10, 15 years maybe. Even well into the 90s, people were still showing it, because it was a joint HBO ITV production. So, which is a strange combination, HBO in America and ITV over here, but that's why they show it as well, because they've also got the rights, so why not try and recoup some money. How much did it cost?
I couldn't find anything about the cost at all. I wouldn't have thought it was that expensive, really.
But the stars, the thing is, the stars in the film, I could see them costing a little bit of money. So Tim Curry was hot off the back of Rocky Horror Picture Show and Annie. So he was...
And Clue. Would Clue have been out?
Clue... What's this?
This is 86.
Yeah, so Clue had already been out. I think Legend maybe as well.
It?
No, it was 89, 88, right, so it was after this.
Diana Rigg, she was quite big for like the Avengers and stuff like that. Yeah.
And then you had Charlotte Rae, who plays Miss Cackle. She was big in America from Facts of Life and Different Strokes.
That's right.
She was in both of them.
Yeah.
She used to sing the Facts of Life tune, didn't she?
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
You take the good, you take the bad, and there you go, and there you have the Facts of Life. Facts of Life.
I've never seen it.
You have seen it. You've seen it.
I've seen the Facts of Life.
Listen, even if you never watched it, you knew it existed.
I've never seen the Facts of Life. It's an American show, isn't it?
Yeah, but you see Punky Brewster.
No, I remember Punky Brewster. I remember Different Strokes. I don't remember the Facts of Life, though.
Well, it was about the same time. Well, I remember it. I bet Rosie remembers it.
But I bet it was more your era then.
No, it was about the same time. It came out round about the same time as Different Strokes. She was only in Different Strokes for the first 2 seasons. And even after the first season, I think they started Facts of Life.
Oh, so she done Different Strokes and then she done the Facts of Life?
Yeah, because her character is the same character. So she's the nanny in Different Strokes.
Okay.
And then she goes and starts this girls' home.
Okay. Is Molly Ringwald in that? Facts of Life?
Yes. She was in 14 episodes as Molly Parker. Okay. And she was also Molly Parker in Different Strokes. So it's crossover. Right, so it's the same universe, not like Cheers and Frasier.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So obviously Tim Curry was in Rocky Horror Picture Show, Clue, Home Alone, It. Diana Rigg was from The Avengers, Game of Thrones, and The Great Muppet Caper. Do you remember in that?
No.
She's like Miss Piggy works for her. Oh. She's like the rich, like...
I never see it. I've never seen it.
You must have seen...
No, I know the Muppet. I know the Muppet movie. I see that loads of times.
Miss Piggy's on the motorbike.
I know of it. I remember you laughing, showing me a picture of her on the motorbike. So it's funny, isn't it? And I'm like, oh, I've not seen it, Ben.
Didn't.
You did. You had all your pop culture stuff all around your bedroom, and it's just like a random photo.
I didn't have pictures of Miss Piggy.
It wasn't pictures. It was a picture, part of a collage. It was Miss Piggy on a bike. Anyway.
Right, okay. All right, then. And there's Fairuza Balk. Fairuza? Is it Fairuza Balk? Fairuza Balk. She was in Return to Oz, The Craft, American History X.
Yeah.
And as you said, Charlotte Rae was in The Facts of Life and Different Strokes.
Fairuza Balk, yes. So this is actually one of 4 films that she done involving witches.
Okay.
Because Return to Oz had witches in it. Then it was this, Worst Witch, where she plays a witch. Then you had The Craft.
Yeah.
which...
She's like an evil witch, isn't she?
She's a witch in that, but this is the thing. There's a theory online that The Craft is like a sequel to The Worst Witch, because there's like this fan theory where what happened? He wasn't taking her out flying. He was taking her to America, where he was going to wipe her memory and leave her in America because she was too powerful. They thought a girl her age shouldn't be powerful enough to make...
Oh, God.
To make...
They've got better things to do with their time.
No, but you think about it, it's quite a good idea. So what's happened? She's made Cackle and all these big witches turn into little snails. Sorry, not Cackle. What's the other one's name? Aggie. So she's turned Aggie, who's a powerful witch, and all her minions are all witches. She turns them into snails like this, it's nothing. Miss Cackle is like, okay, darling, you go back to your thing. And she goes, what's wrong with you? Shouts at her sister and all them. But her and Hardborough would be thinking, there's no way, you couldn't do that. I couldn't turn them into snails. I would have done it years ago. If she becomes bad, she's going to be too powerful for us. So they have to call the Grand Wizard in. He's like, right, I've got a plan. Well done, Mildred. Let me take you out flying. So he takes her out flying, and he says, see, you're not the worst witch, because he's the only one powerful enough to go toe-to-toe with her. He flies her across the ocean, lands in America, and she goes, what are we doing here? And he wipes her memory that she was a witch. So then she goes to this high school in America, and the craft happens, because she's dabbling with witchcraft, and what happens in the craft is this fourth witch comes involved, and they actually become witches, and they can start doing spells again. So she is the same character.
Oh, well, that is a little bit over the top, but yeah, okay, it's an idea, I expect.
Miss Spellbinder was played by Sabina Franklyn. She was in the final ever episode of 40 Towers, Basil the Rat.
That's right, I remember her in that. She was
Quintina.
Yeah, she has the rat in her bag. Yeah, I remember her from that.
And about 10 years ago, for about 2 years, she played Eve Wilson in Coronation Street.
Yeah. Do you know she was also married to?
Oh.
At Fools and Horses, Boise.
Really?
I believe she was married to Boise.
Ah, he done well, didn't he? Okay, well, here's a question for you on the cast. So, which actor also was in Ocean's 13, Warm Bodies, Focus, 28 Weeks Later, The Prestige, Rain Man, Basic Instinct, Passenger 57, Scent of a Woman, Pulp Fiction, Legends of the Fall, Seven, Hollow Man, Bridget Jones' Edge of Reason, and was also the voice of Poe in Teletubbies.
What? Who was in that? Who was in all them films? It's none of the main cast, is it?
No. The Prefect. No, like when they're playing that game. I shall say the rules. It was Pooh Fan Lee.
Okay. Was she in all them films?
She's been in all them
So
films.
she's actually done better than all of them.
But this is the thing, the parts she plays in these films, even if you know these films well, you go, who?
I can't remember in any
Like,
of them
for
films.
example, Seven, she played the orchestra vocalist. You think, I don't remember an orchestra.
No.
Pulp Fiction, she plays Dowager at bar. Now, the bar at the beginning, there's only 4 characters. She's not one of them. I think she's at the bar in Jack Rabbit Slim. So basically, she's a glorified extra. She's in loads of leads. She doesn't get lines. You know, in Rain Man, she was the casino patron who did animal impressions. In Basic Instinct, she's Mrs. Rollins, who's probably just mentioned, and they point out, oh, that's Mrs. Rollins over there.
That's mad, isn't it? Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that. I know what you're talking about, though, yeah.
Yeah. But, she, you know, in fairness, she's really good resume.
Well, she's not bad.
But she actually sort of found fame when she became the voice of Poe in Teletubbies.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's her biggest claim to fame, I suppose.
Well, yeah, that's the voice of Poe. Poe Teletubbies was huge, both sides of the water, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah. Well, this film, The Worst Witch, is about a young girl called Mildred Hubble who goes to this... It's like a witches' academy, isn't it? It's like a boarding school for witches. And it's basically like they sort of teach her how to do all these sort of spells and stuff. And she's a bit of a clumsy witch. And she gets bullied a bit by Ethel Hallow.
Well, I thought, sorry to interrupt, going back to the cast, I think she's one of the strongest actors in it.
Yeah.
Ethel Hallow, because she's so convincing. There's that sort of snidey, almost like a Janine Butcher type.
Yeah.
You know, she's really horrible. But she only done one other thing after this. She's done like 5 things, and she was in a programme called The Press Gang a few years later.
Press Gang, I remember Press Gang.
About
That had
1990.
Julia Sawalha in it.
She was in that.
And is it something Dempsey? What's his name? Not Jack Dempsey. What's his name?
Patrick Dempsey?
No, not Patrick Dempsey.
Dexter Fletcher?
Dexter Fletcher.
Oh, him, right. Yeah,
Dexter
so,
Fletcher. That's it, Dexter Fletcher.
Oh, yeah, so he obviously done Lock, Stock and Bugsy Malone.
That's it. Yeah, he's Babyface in Bugsy Malone,
yeah.
Dexter Fletcher. He's not in this though. So we're going
back onto Worst Witch.
Right.
No.
Yeah, so basically, she's like a bit of a clumsy witch. That Ethel sort of like does things to sort of snidely get her into trouble and stuff. And yeah, basically she runs away and then she overhears these other witches planning to take over the school, and which is the twin sister of the headmistress. And she sort of follows them and she turns them into snails, and then she gets sent off to America with Tim Curry
because they realise how powerful she is
to go out of the craft.
Yeah, just giving them.
So you say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's basically it, really. That's the story. So that's the end of our podcast. Jill Murphy, who wrote this book in 1974.
She wrote it in 64. It was published in 74. She wrote it when she was 15.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, Jill Murphy. She wrote this book. Okay, she wrote this book in.
Say that again properly. She wrote this book. Okay, she wrote this book.
Yeah.
Rain Man.
This was written by Jill Murphy, who wrote this book in 1964, and it was published in 1974. She wrote it.
Sorry. I was going to say, how old was she?
I was about to get to that.
Say it again then, I thought you forgot it.
No, you didn't give me a chance to fucking talk, did you? Right, this is written by Jill Murphy in 1964, and it was published in 1974. She wrote this at the age of 15, and it's based on stories and events of her own school experiences. All the characters are based on her school friends and enemies.
Well, I like this film a lot, and I know the special effects are terrible, even for its time.
Yeah.
Even for its time, it was terrible. It was literally like, we've run out of budget, get anyone to do it. Get that 16-year-old kid who's just got his new Atari next door, and he do as much effects as he can. He throws everything.
It's really bad special
twin
effects.
faces and like this terrible green screen. And you think if the effects was good, I think it would it'd go beyond like kitsch appreciation, because that's why the film is actually solid acting. They're all good actors in it,
and it's a good storyline. I mean, I know of course
it is, because it was ripped off by Harry Potter.
Well,
it's pretty much the same thing, isn't it?
Sort of thing. But the thing is, Jill Murphy, she didn't actually like the film, but she liked the series. But she said because it was really bad special effects and a bad storyline. But I think the storyline was actually really good.
Well, it was her story, based on her first book.
I think she was probably talking about like the scripts, scripts. But the thing is, I think the story is actually really good. It's just the special effects, like when they disappear and their shoes come over, and it's just like you can see that their heads are just sitting there. And the thing is, if the special effects had been good, this would have been a completely different league, this film.
Or if they just cut out the special effects. Now you think about when Tim Curry sings Anything Can Happen on Halloween, and they're turning his hair green for some reason, and they're doing all these weird effects, and you think, that's not necessary. All they had to do, they could have followed him with the camera, almost like how he is in Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
That's his entrance, and he can be just talking to the girls, go, anything can happen, almost like David Bowie in Labyrinth, like singing to all these like smaller people,
and all the girls gushing over him,
and maybe and they're all swooning and falling down, and maybe at the end he throws his hands up and you can see little flares go up, like someone set some fireworks behind. And that would be brilliant, because people go, it's so, because he can carry the scene without special effects. They could have easily cut the special effects out of that one bit, and people would go, what a brilliant musical number. It's like Rocky Horror but for kids.
No, that's a good idea of looking at it. That would have been really good, because that is a bit of a joke, that scene. I think even watching it back then, it was a joke. The effects was rubbish even back then. So usually when you look back at stuff and you think it was good and then it's bad, it was bad even then. But that's a good idea. It's a shame that you weren't on production then, Charles, at the age of 4. Yeah,
but instead it was directed by Robert Young, who directed the Jeeves and Wooster series, and done most of Fierce Creatures. Fierce Creatures was that sort of sequel to Fish Called Wonder, which was meant to be terrible. I think I watched the last half hour of it.
I think I tried to watch it because I loved Fish Called Wonder, and I love all the characters in Fish Called Wonder, and they're brilliant.
Yeah.
But
it just didn't have the magic. It was just like a typical kind of American script, sort of slapstick.
It was just not the same.
Yeah, it was.
And Fish Called Wonder is a fantastic film.
Yeah.
And all the members of the cast, every single member of that cast are fantastic. Did you also know in the Fish Called Wonder, the one who plays John Cleese's daughter in that is his actual real daughter with Connie Booth?
Yeah.
That's the one who plays Portia.
Portia.
in Fish Called Wonder. That is actually him and Connie Booth's actual daughter.
We should save that for when we do Fish Called
Well,
Wonder.
I will do. I'll add that again. Well, obviously, that's a definite. We've got to definitely do Fish Called Wonder.
See, I love also the music in this. The songs in this are really solid songs. They're catchy.
Yeah. The first one was Growing Up Isn't Easy, which is sung by Bonnie Langford. That's a nice, catchy song as well.
Yeah. The most of the songs, Dennis King wrote My Little School.
Right, okay.
Yeah, which I love that song. But the rest of the songs, the music was by Charles Strauss, who was a theatrical composer. He actually wrote the music for Annie.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah. So, again, they would have spent a lot of money on getting these two to do the songs. Charles
and this
Strauss.
is after Annie as well, so then obviously his money would have gone up then, wouldn't it? His prices would have gone up.
And the lyricist, he wrote the music, and the lyricist was Don Black, OBE. He wrote lyrics for Born Free, all the James Bond ones that you know, like Thunderball, Diamonds Are Forever, stuff like that. He wrote the lyrics for them. So again, he was still in demand because at this time they were still making James Bond films. So they think, right, we've got one of the best lyricists in the world, one of the best composers.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the songs are actually better than what the film is almost.
Yeah.
You know? The songs in this are as good a quality, like how catchy they are, the original tunes, the lyrics, as any other musical.
Yeah.
I put them up there with Grease, with Bugsy Malone, with all of that. When you put the songs on their own, you think, that's really catchy, and I like the way he uses the words.
Yeah.
And they fit into the scene.
How many songs in this, though? There's Growing Up Isn't Easy, there's that My Little Skull, Anything Can Happen on Halloween. Is that just them three? Or was that Filthy, Smelly?
Yeah, that's oh yeah,
and cruel.
My Little Skull.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. That's My Little Skull. Yeah.
Yeah. So the songs themselves, and as you can hear, they've spent all the money on the composers, but the actual instruments are like little Casio keyboards and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's. I mean, as you said, I think the only thing if they had filmed that like as he does in Sweet Transvestite, that would have been fantastic. Without doing all the special effects, that would have been brilliant if they'd just done it like that, because he could have pulled that off easily.
They could have had to set all these cauldrons and stuff like that, and it would have been cheaper.
Yeah.
They would have saved money there, and they could put that towards special effects in other parts of the film. So they go, no, we take time to do this.
Because there's the bit at the beginning when they disappear and it's just their heads floating there, which looks a bit silly. You know, because it's like you can see that they've just been erased. They're not moving their heads. They're like, obviously you can't move your head because otherwise you're gonna ruin the effect.
Well, on the broomstick when they're learning to fly. Yeah, that's terrible. Like the effects on that. And you just think they don't look in danger. When she starts going, "What's wrong, Blackie?" Starts like fighting about. You think, I'm actually going to die. Yeah. But this is another parallel with Harry Potter. The first Harry Potter film is...
So I've never seen Harry Potter's.
I've seen the first one, and straight away I was
is it literally similar storyline to this?
Yeah, pretty much. You know, it's just, they change it slightly, some extra elements, and obviously made 20 years later, they've got...
Better special effects,
stuff like that, and they could do it high, and it was released theatrical.
They should maybe try and redo this then.
They could do.
They could do this in a really good way. I mean, I like the cast in this though.
Well, you can't have Tim Curry anymore.
No, Tim Curry.
All the cast.
All of the cast.
You know, it's not
I think Diana Rigg's dead now. I think she died.
Fairuza Balk can't come back as a little girl. It'd be weird. They have to recast. Maybe get Jenna Ortega.
She could and maybe she could actually.
And have Lily as her mate.
She could actually be like maybe a teacher. Fairuza Balk.
Yeah, she could be like the one on the broomstick or the flight teacher.
Yeah, like you know, there's the one who's chewing gum and all that, and she's like,
you know what they could do? They could get famous witches from other films, or like that kind of person. Say like you got Angelica Houston as Miss Hardbroom, someone like that, someone who she was in The Witches. Yeah. Was she in The Witches? Yeah. She was, wasn't she? And Addams Family. So they think, she's now Miss Hardbroom. Yeah. Fairuza Balk is the flight one. Yeah. And you'd get someone else who's like a good
witch or something. Who's a good witch.
It's a shame. What's her name? Just died. The one that had Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Oh, Angela Lansbury.
Yeah, she would have made a good Miss Hardbroom. I always liked Miss Hardbroom because I think, she's like a kindly old nan. Yeah. You know, when Mildred
there's the hard face. Yeah. Is it Miss Cackle?
Miss Hardbroom.
Oh, Miss Hardbroom.
Well, the other teacher, who is like Snape out of Harry Potter, the Alan Rickman character. Alan Rickman in Harry Potter even looks a bit like Miss Hardbroom in this. And it's her main teacher who's sort of like, well, Potter.
Yeah.
So you
she's
know,
quite nasty in this.
Yeah.
Isn't she?
Whereas Dumbledore's quite sweet and nice.
Yeah.
Like Miss Cackle. So when she goes to Miss Cackle's office, she's like, "Oh, what's happened?
Yeah.
What can we do with you?
Yeah.
Was I nasty enough for you?
Yeah.
Go on your way." You just think, oh, it's a nice little nan figure,
Yeah.
rather than this other horrible one.
Yeah. This film was shot in Tenbury Wells in England, and it was filmed at St Michael's College. Most of the interior and the outside with the broomsticks and all that was filmed in the cloisters.
Okay.
The school was founded in 1856 as a boys' school. Because of financial difficulties, it was forced to close in 1985. So then that's why they used this for the set for the film the following year, which is 1986.
And it's ironic, it was a boys' school, but they've used it as a girls' school.
Yeah. No, it's a good film though. It's, as I say, I've got good fond memories of this film growing up. It is, as I say, it's quite pathetic, some of the special effects and stuff, but I think you look over that and it's still loved a lot today. I think you find a lot of people of our generation that will remember it fondly because we had very few channels. I think we had 3 channels. We would have had 4 channels with
By the mid-80s. Yeah.
When did Channel 4 start?
I think 84,
85, yeah. So we would have had just 4 channels and no one had cable and all that then. So everyone seemed to watch the same sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So people will remember this fondly. Like it was on round about Halloween time. It's very easy going. It ain't scary at all.
No.
It's a nice family sort of film. So it's held quite close to a lot of people. I think that's like with myself. I remember it in a fond way because it's we had a happy home growing up, you know, and it's a nice. We all liked it, and it was just a nice little thing to watch.
And I think the reason that the bad special effects don't actually damage it that much is because it's not a serious film. It's a fun, light-hearted film.
Yeah.
Now, if you was watching something like A Fatal Attraction and these were the special effects in it, you go, "Oh, I can't watch that film. They expect me to take it seriously." You're not.
I think kids today would take the piss out of it. Like if they was to put it on there.
But this is the thing, kids back then did. Kids then we'd take the piss out of it. Go, "Oh my God, that is so bad.
Yeah.
Let's watch it again."
Yeah.
Because it's so fun. It don't take itself seriously.
I think it's got a following though.
It's a fantastic cast. You wouldn't change anyone in the cast.
No, it's great.
The songs are great. Tim Curry again steals the film in like one scene almost. And just the funny way he takes it seriously. I've got another gig. He always brings like 100% to it, and
it's brilliant.
Even though it's very short, I think it does it a favour that it's so short. It's like 70 minutes because it would outstay its welcome if you couldn't put up with that for too long. But because it's so fast and it cuts to the chase,
It's a very short film, isn't it?
70 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
With all the cast, all the characters, Charlotte Rae playing the 2 characters.
Yeah.
Who, as a kid, I didn't know. I didn't notice that until like probably when I was watching it with Lily years later. I was
Really?
like, God, of course it's the same woman. I just assumed it was like because the accent threw me enough. For some reason, her twins got like a Alabama accent or something.
Well, also, I'll tell another thing I noticed when we watched this years ago. Because I remember I recorded it off the telly years ago, and it's slightly different to the actual DVD release.
Really?
Because at the end with the snails, you don't hear them talk. Whereas in the version we had, she goes, "Which one are you, Aggie?" She goes, "I'm Aggie," but it's like a little snail voice. And then she goes, when she says, "Of course," she goes, "Turn them back." And she goes, "Oh, I don't know if I can do it." And she goes, "Of course you can, dear." And then the little snail goes, "Of course you can, dear."
Yeah.
And it's like, so I don't know why that's not been added onto it. Also,
Sorry,
there's the
very
bit
quickly,
when,
because it's relevant to that. You told me that the other day,
yeah,
and I thought, I'll look out for that on my DVD. I totally forgot to pay attention to that bit, whether the snails are talking or not. And now I'm thinking, did they talk? I can't remember.
they wouldn't.
I'll have to ask Lily, because she's only
on
seen
the
that.
DVD. They wouldn't have done on the DVD because I've tried to find that copy. I've tried to find it. I've downloaded and I've looked on YouTube. There is not that version that we had in England. Also, another bit I remember was different. It was certain bits was cut out of it, but it was cut out, and I think it was for the better. It was cut out.
What?
It looked there was, I think something to do with Ethel. Something to do with Ethel Hallow. There was a little bit that's trimmed down a bit, but there was also...
Is it the pig, going back into the pig?
There's something, but I remember it was a little bit, and it worked better. Like the version that we see was a better version than the DVD release, and it's only a couple of tiny little tweaks. There was another bit I remember, you know, when Mildred and her friend are sitting there talking about Miss Harbourham, and in the DVD thing, they talk about her, and all of a sudden she goes, "Is that so?" and all that in her face. But they're talking, and then they look, and there's like a little green mist, and then it comes up, and then she says, "Is that so?" So they've cut that out. Whereas straight away, she's in your face. It's like, whereas they look and they go, "Ooh," and they see like a little green mist, and it comes up, and then it spins round, and then that's her.
Yeah.
Why have they cut that special effect out? Because that was actually quite good.
Well, maybe they didn't like it.
No,
Didn't she spin slowly? Woo, 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 woo. And then she said, "Is that so?"
Yeah.
Maybe they just thought that looks terrible.
No, it didn't look bad.
Yeah, but
That's
someone
what I'm saying.
else with modern eyes would have looked and gone, "Look how slow she spins. Watch what happens. I'll cut out the green mist."
No, I
speed her
don't
up."
think it is. Honestly, I don't think there's any reason. I think it's just sometimes they edit things differently. Yeah. But that was like I would say that was probably a more up-to-date edit. That's someone has edited it in a better way. But I've never seen that version. All I've ever seen is the DVD release. And it'd be interesting to see that version again, because that would still be out there somewhere, because that would be in the archives somewhere, you know. So to be able to get hold of the version that was actually originally shown on ITV in like 86 or 87, whatever time it came out.
I've only got one more. It's not so much a fact, but something about Charlotte Rae. Now, I really like Charlotte Rae in this.
No.
You know, as Miss Cackle and Aggie. And I remember Facts of Life. We all remember Facts of Life.
You do.
We all do, Ben.
I don't remember it.
She was, in that, she was
it.
like this kind old nan-like figure.
I don't even remember her in Different Strokes.
And in Different Strokes, of course, she was the main star of Different Strokes. They always had her on the front, so everyone remembers her.
But I don't remember him having housekeeper. I would have remembered it.
Anyway,
I can't remember it that much now.
The only thing I've ever had against that woman is she sang in the Tom and Jerry film, which I think came out in like 92. They done the Tom and Jerry the movie, which was a cartoon which was like parodied by Simpsons when they had the Itchy and Scratchy movie, because they done that episode a couple of years later. So it's really old, but they made Tom and Jerry start talking right at the very beginning, because they realised they couldn't make it for a whole feature film. They had starts off with a normal Tom and Jerry, and then they start talking with these really creepy accents, and they come, "We better stick together," and they're friends.
Okay, yeah.
And they're getting chased by this woman who wants the money, and it's voiced by Charlotte Rae, and she sings this song in the film, where it goes like, "Money is such a beautiful word." I only ever heard that song once, and it curses me to this day.
Why?
Because I hated it so much. It's imprinted on my brain. And if someone says money or something, also in my head it'll go, "Money is such a beautiful word." I know.
Well, why do you hate it so much?
Because it's a brainworm. It's stuck in my head. I've only ever heard it once. I've deliberately avoided it. Lily tried playing it to me a few years ago. I was like, "No, Lily, don't muck about, because if you that song curses me." She knows.
Find it on YouTube and play it to you.
No, don't.
Money is such a beautiful word.
I know.
I'm going to play it at the beginning of the podcast.
No, don't, please. It's terrible. And it's the only, but she makes up for it with My Little School.
That's mad. That something you heard once is stuck in your brain.
Yeah, when I was 10.
And it ain't like it was something like really traumatic, like bloody Faces of Death or something like that.
It's worse. It's worse. The Tom and Jerry movie. I was so excited for it. I thought, it's going to be wicked, because I liked Tom and Jerry. They used to be violent, like Itchy and Scratchy.
Yeah.
And for the first 5 minutes of the film, it's like a normal Tom and Jerry cartoon. They weren't talking. Then all of a sudden, the owners left, and they were like, "Oh my God, they've left us. You can talk? Oh my God, I didn't know you could talk." And they become friends.
Money is such a beautiful word.
But then, it's just a terrible Disney wannabe film, one of them kinds. Anyway,
Okay, right.
But this was the worst witch.
Yes, the IMDb.
Yeah.
On IMDb, it got 6.8%, which isn't bad.
It's good considering A, it was poorly made.
Yeah.
And B, it was a TV movie.
Yeah. And for the Rotten Tomatoes, couldn't find a critics, because I don't know if it was. I think it's a TV movie. I think it's always been made for a TV movie, so there's no critics reviews on it. But it got 78% by the audience on Rotten Tomatoes, so that's not bad.
That's good.
As I say, I think a lot of people hold it fondly because it reminds them of a simpler time. It reminds them of their families growing up, and it's just quite a nice little film.
Yeah.
Even today, like as I said, you watched it with your daughter.
Yeah.
She likes it, and she's only 16.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But she's always liked it. So even generations now, I think it's just it's a cult film. I would say, really.
And as I said, I think all the heavy lifting for all that's gone wrong with it, it should be a film that totally stinks and no one talks about it. I think with the acting and the songs, just make it that much better.
Yeah, well, obviously, I mean, it's still fond in my brain because it ain't taxing on the brain to watch it. Do you know what I mean? It's quite It's quite an easy watch. So yeah, I like it. It's a nice old
it's brilliant.
classic
I love
film.
it. I've been
Well, it was
watching it
classic
for
in
years.
our house, wasn't it? You know.
It's classic in many people's. So, yeah.
And I think, as you said, it was quite popular in America. They liked it in America as well. So I think a lot of people around about our age group will think of it fondly. You know, or they'll have memories of it. That was our podcast today. So that was The Worst Witch. And what is your choice for next week then, Charles?
Okay, so my choice for next week, which will be our penultimate Halloween podcast. We want to release one on Halloween night, but we'll tell you about that later. My choice, going from terrible effects to excellent effects, practical effects, Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I know you mentioned it before.
I like that.
You toyed with it. And
I think that's my favourite out of the Nightmare on Elm Street because it has got good effects. It's got some really gruesome bits. Yeah, good one.
Yeah.
I like that film.
And I thought, you've got to do at least one Nightmare on Elm Street with our first month of October.
Yeah.
We had to do one.
Yeah.
And this is, as you said, you know, if you listen to the previous podcast or one of the previous ones, we've done top 10 horror films and you stuck it in your top 10.
Yeah.
I didn't. I put part 1 in my top 10, but it's definitely, I'd say it's probably in my top 20, top 30 horror films.
Yeah.
And
it's a good story. It's a good story and it's good effects.
It's clever the direction they go with it,
Yeah.
and how they was trying to then start being creative with the deaths.
Especially after how bad number 2 had gone.
But we'll go into that anyway next week.
Right,
But,
okay.
Yeah,
Right,
so Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street 3 for
The Dream
next
Warriors.
week. Yeah, the Dream Warriors, that's it.
Yeah.
Right, lovely. Okay, thanks for listening and we will catch up with you soon. See you later.
Bye bye.